Still Daybreak Africa, if you just tuned in. As earlier said between I and Anire, they say charity begins at home. And with the topic today, good governance and its relationship with role of parenting and sound morals. Now, I could hear someone saying, what's the relationship between good governance and parenting, good parenting or sound morals? Why don't you sit back and then get enlightened as we're about to get educated as well. And with us in the house is Elizabeth Okorafo. She's a lecturer, a social analyst, a lecturer at the Department of Linguistic AFWED here in Ondo State. She's from Imo State, Nigeria, a mother and a mentor. But I know I said she's from Imo State, but trust me, she has a touch all around Nigeria. I mean, to my greatest surprise, she speaks literally all languages. All, name it. She's
a linguist.
I mean,
she's a linguist. She's a woman of, when you meet a woman with different parts, she's one of them, and we're so glad to have you on Daybreak Africa once again.
Welcome on the show.
Welcome.
Thank you, Ezekiel, and thank you, Annie.
Well, like Ezekiel said, charity begins at home. He also said that a lot of people at home would be like, what are these people up to again this morning? Good governance, hashtag good governance. But of course, we all know why we're talking about it again. People who watched you on the show a couple of days ago talk on good governance on a different level will understand the reason why we actually brought you back again to talk about good governance, and of course at this time the role of parenting and sound moral. But let us begin from the top. I know that we talked about, you gave us the 8 major rules of good governance. Let us talk a little bit about good governance before we begin to wind in to why we actually need to find out the role of parenting, sound, great parenting from home, and how it affects governance as a whole, not just in Nigeria, anywhere in the world.
Thank you, Annie. It's my pleasure having me here again today. Yeah, I feel humbled.
Thank you.
Yeah, in the first instance, what is governance? I think governance has to do with being able to supervise, care for the needs and the needs of other people. You are a figurehead. You are brought out amongst equals, amongst your mates, to be at the helm of affairs, to pilot the activities, to direct and to care for others. That is governance. Everybody cannot be at head. And the Bible said authority comes from heaven. And to whom much is given, much is expected, and is given honor to whom it is due. So when you are bestowed with that particular responsibility of overseeing to the welfare of others, you are expected to be of a level above others. And so the Yoruba said, when the head of the fish is spoiled, the whole fish is gone. So there is much expectation on who is at the helm of affairs. And we know that everywhere in our life, every day in our life, there must be a leader, there must be somebody overseeing in all aspects of life. There must be somebody at the helm of affairs. In our families, we usually say a father is the head of the family. And that father is the governor of the family. In the schools, we have principals. In the other higher institutions, we have vice chancellors. We have other people. And so the role of these people who are saddled with the responsibility of overseeing to the activities, to the welfare of others, is what is before us today. How does it matter? How would they draw from their parenting? Of course, you don't give what you don't have. And like Ezekiel earlier said, charity, they say, begins at home. And when the head of the fish is spoiled, the whole body will be spoiled. So that is why it is very, very important for us to know the source of this person leading us? How has it, because you can't live above your environment. How has your parenting affected you? Psychologists will say inherent attributes is an attribute. You understand? It's an attribute you inherit from home. And it goes a long way with you. You understand? So I wouldn't say that the role of parents in this governance of a thing can never be overemphasized.
Now, we understand, in your words, governance is leadership.
Leadership.
In quotes. Governance is leadership. So, what then becomes the consequences of poor leadership in any organization or situation?
Like I said before, I used one imagery of the fish. That when the head of the fish is bad, the whole fish will be bad. So you don't have to expect anything good when the head is already bad. If you don't lead well, your followers will not follow you well. There will be chaos in every situation. Do you understand? Good leadership begets good followership.
So at any point where there is chaos in an organization, or it simply means the leadership structure is terrible,
it's
and
terrible.
not the people.
No. For you to be a leader, it's assumed that you have learned a little about human psychology, the psychology of human beings. There are different, diverse characters. Do you understand? A leader should not waver. A leader should be firm to be able to know. If you have 5 children, the 5 children are not the same. They don't behave alike. Your 5 fingers are not equal. Like they say, it's a common saying. These 5 fingers are not equal, not even in height or in size. So, as a leader, you should be able to know the peculiarities of these fingers. This is a finger as a society now. You should be able to know the peculiarities of this society you are leading. Some are educated, some are not educated. Religiously, you have issues with that too. You understand? So, as a leader, you should put in place, you should be conscious of these peculiarities, individual peculiarities, and then come up with a way of tackling them. Do you understand?
Let's talk about good governance, like I started with initially, because the topic good governance, role of parenting, sound morale. Let's assume that our viewers or a viewer watching did not actually watch the first time you were around, on the show. It would be nice for us to start by enumerating the features of good governance before we begin to see the role of parents, and of course, sound moral upbringing, the way both can actually affect leadership on the long run. Now, we just experienced a protest in the country, and the protest was #end bad governance. Nigerians are at a crossroads at this present time, and a lot of people will attribute the situation that we are going through in the country to leadership, because I've had a guest come here to say everything rise and fall with leadership. Again, when I was doing my intro, I did say that a lot of Nigerians, I don't know if it's common in other parts of the world, they have this feeling when they talk about government that maybe they are not human like we are. Maybe they are different kind of species from the humanity that they know of. So let us first educate our people what the features of good governance is and how we can narrow it down to achieving that, especially for Nigeria, as it were. Yes.
Okay, thank you once again.
You're welcome.
Actually, there are several processes of achieving or arriving at a good governance. But I think the most important about all of them is this issue of transparency, inclusiveness, you understand, and civic education. When I talk about transparency, being of high ethical moral standard as a leader. When I talk about transparency, It means letting the citizenry know your steps, why you want to do what you want to do. Like I said, let me take a leverage from Nigeria's situation now. Our kind of president is the type that sits back there and signs whatever he wants to sign without prior deliberation, without involving the stakeholders. There should be a forum where issues will be discussed. They will harness the different possibilities, hitches here and there, before they can come up to signing. But what we hear is that, oh, the president has signed this. Today I had a president, yesterday I had a president has signed 300% increase on a lawyer's salary. Who does that? 300% increase on the salary of the lawyers.
But is it wrong for him to do that? Or
okay,
is it wrong for him to do that?
Yes, I think if he wanted to follow that aspect of transparency, aspect of inclusiveness,
okay,
there should be a roundtable discussion, for crying out loud. There is Senate, there's House of Rep. These people are meant to come and sit these deliberate issues. They are representing us. House of Representatives. They are representing different zones, different geopolitical zones. Then they sit there, they discuss these issues, put it into bill before people know. Make a public debate about it. Let people sample people's opinion. For crying out loud, how can you increase a people's salary at 300, but these same people found it difficult to increase the general masses salary to even 100%, because that's what they gave them, from 30,000 to 70,000 naira. It's only 100%, isn't it? And then you had the moral justification to sign into bill 300%. That's what we are talking about. And then you expect people to keep quiet. It's not going to work.
Oh, the truth is that bill has been on the table for a while, and considering the indices that brought out that particular acceptance was because it is believed with that increment, judges need not receive penny from anybody. You could, make laws and, do things with blindfolded, if I'll use that word. There wouldn't be any pettiness or bribery along the line. So with that, it was more like a welcome development for many. It's more like you're the first Nigerian to actually have a different view as regarding that particular bill being signed.
Well, I'm not saying the bill wasn't there or that it is just, but what I'm saying is that whether it was there or not is not the only bill that has been lying on that table, unsigned, unimplemented. It's not. And how come they didn't give it a public hearing? They didn't sample the populace opinion. They went straight into signing it. He's only bringing the people he's only caging them. And once you are enslaved by wealth, you cannot speak the truth. The truth will be far away from you. You are already enslaved with wealth. They've given you all you want to do. So whatever, he who pays the pipe dictates the tune.
Now, the question I want to ask you now, talking about equity, because we definitely use this administration as a pointer. As a Nigerian, one who has stayed in this country for as long as possible. 60 years today.
By August 20th, I'll be 60.
Whoa,
so I'm no longer
you're
a baby.
Still looking so beautiful. Okay, so let us balance it a little bit. In your opinion, how would you rate past governments in Nigeria in terms of transparency? How would you rate, to the best of your knowledge, in terms of transparency? Is this something that is hashed into governing culture, or is this something that is peculiar with certain kind of people or certain governments that you can remember?
I think transparency in the whole of Africa, is a big problem. It's a very big problem. In Nigeria, for instance, they say we are practicing a democratic dispensation, right? But do you know that you cannot comfortably call a police officer to tell him this is what is going on? You cannot comfortably report a case in your environment and it will be given attention. I have a case at hand now. Sorry to make it a public case. I reported a case of age falsification since May against somebody in the university, one of the universities in Imo State. Up until yesterday, I had to write the Vice Chancellor, am I not entitled to know the outcome of my petition? Do you understand? Am I not entitled to know the outcome of my petition? I wrote to the Commissioner of Education, Mr. Commissioner of Education, am I not entitled to know the outcome of the petition I sent to you? If I have blown a wrong whistle, I think I deserve to be punished for it. So why can't we do the things the right way? They should do it. And you see, the question there is that when such letters or petitions come, the person that is a culpable or who is a culprit will just go behind and sort the bigger. They put it in view. They keep it in view.
So what reasons did they give? What response have you gotten since you made
Yes,
this demand?
since then I got a report. I was asked to write a reminder to the Vice Chancellor. I was asked to write a reminder and, if possible, put a threat on him to take it further to the higher authority if nothing is done. Because I have my facts. They are all there. The facts are glaring. You understand? So transparency, as far as I'm concerned, is a word that we have not found a definition in Nigeria. And in fact, most of the African countries.
Now, from what you said, key elements of good governance should include transparency.
Transparency, inclusiveness, equity. Yeah.
And with the way you said, the word transparency probably has no definition in our context. So how best can we implement, how best at this point as Nigerians, as a people? Is it more like the people's responsibility? Is it more like for those in power? How can we best implement these key elements in our society?
Yeah, I remember last time that I was about saying one of the mechanisms or one of the processes you could arrive at a good governance, that is setting in place a committee or setting in place machinery of checking, assessing, call it assessment, assessing the performance of the leaders from time to time.
Yeah, you did mention, but sorry to cut you at this point quickly. You know, we do have agencies.
Okay.
We have EFCC, we have ICPC, amongst other agencies. I mean, we have organizations that actually do the checks and balances.
Yeah.
Isn't that enough?
Yeah, that is part of it. But then the issue of our own governance here, or government here, is that issue of money back. He who has it, who plays the tune, pipe, always dictate the piper. When the somebody that is at the helm of affairs to check you has already been given a brown envelope from the back, what do you expect? He just come there to endorse whatever you have given him. There's no thorough check. We don't have people who have moral value, who have integrity to say no to bribe. We don't have that integrity. We believe so much in what this money can do for us. You understand? If for any reason I'm sent to come here to check your activities and you stop me at the door and give me one envelope, of course all you present here will be yes, yes, yes. Of course, you know that. It works, it permeates into all our bloodstreams. Go to the universities. Some lecturers will not read your project, they give you mark because you've given them envelope. So what are we talking about? This moral value should be number one.
At the top.
At the top.
Now, good moral character is an ideal state of a person's belief and values that is considered most beneficial to society. Now, I never knew the clause society or the word society will be added to it. All this while I thought, I sit down and I take a look at myself in the mirror and in my heart I am good. That is all it takes. But again, during my research for this topic, I discovered that you can't talk about morality without and values without actually including the next person. The next person being the society is not something you practice on yourself. It is how well it rubs off on others.
Yeah.
That is at the point where you can actually talk about it. In your opinion, how important is good value and, of course, sound morality in good governance, not just in Nigeria, but anywhere in the world?
Yeah. I think from this point, I would say that our value is a relative language, a relative term.
Please let us understand.
Yeah, it depends on what people agree to do. In some cultures, marrying 2 wives is no problem. In some religions, marrying 4 wives, like a Muslim, marrying 4 wives is not a problem. But to Christians, it's a problem. So that's why I say it's a relative concept. Value. What do you value? And why do you value what you value? In Nigeria, in those days, I think people are going beyond that mentality of a woman should not wear trousers. But then why? Why did they say it? Do you understand? In some cultures, there are some parts of animal meat in the chicken, like the gizzard. Women should not eat gizzard. Why? You see, what we call value depends on our personal interests. What do you value? So many people value money. Some value education. Some value dress. You understand? Value is a relative concept. But then what we are talking about, societal value. When we are talking about societal value, we now have put so many things into play. How can this thing affect our well-being? Our
and
togetherness,
others and that of others, yes.
Yes, our togetherness, our fairness, our this, our that. If you want to talk about societal value, this, I will tell you Nigeria has no value. My sister, we have no, yes, I've always come from that point of view, that we don't have value. If we have value, you cannot depend on paper for somebody's qualification. You should know the person's, go to our educational system. Somebody will make an A in mathematics, but he cannot solve 1 + 1. But because what is important to the nation is that paper, they get it through cook or any means they have, they get it. Some other country value your potentials. Go to the US. At a child in the primary school, in KG, what stage what, already has a psychologist, a career psychologist that will find out to harness your potentials. That I don't know how to speak English does not make me an illiterate.
Like
but
in China, in Asian countries. Even Ghana is doing that right now.
Yes.
Going for the potential. There are special schools being built right now in Ghana. You know, like the template was gotten from China to ensure that people are picked based on their potential and they are equipped to actually learn towards that direction and not the Western education anymore. So they're practicing that right in Ghana.
And so that's why I'm saying that our society does not have any value. You understand? Somebody goes to school to go and read home economics. I want to give an instance of what happened yesterday.
Okay.
In my institution here, they do home economics. At the end of their session, they want to graduate. They'll be asked to go and do projects like duvet, to sew bed sheets, to make foot match, and so forth. And then they have not taught these children how to make those things. At the end of the day, they will ask them to go to Ibadan. Well, I'm using a special example. Go to Ibadan to buy duvet. Is that your project? Did you produce it? Do you know what is project? Yesterday, 2 of them came to me. 2 girls came to me and brought their long list. I can show you if you like. I brought their long list that they want to get these things. They came to my workshop. I told them 7 feet beige duvet, complete set of it is 65,000 naira. Can you? 7 feet bed sheet without duvet is 15,000 naira. And somebody will ask you to make 1 duvet, 7 feet, complete, 65,000. Make 2 bed sheets, 7 feet, 15,000, that's 30,000. Make 3.5 bed sheets, 4. Make 4.5 bedsheet 3. When I saw it, well, I'm talking about morals here. I'm talking about values. Personally, on my own, that is a plus for me, a win-win for me. I'll make money out of it. But then what do I value? Do I value money to children's well-being? I looked at the implication of that thing will cost each student 200,000 or more than that to achieve it. You didn't teach her. And then at the end of the day, you collect those things and begin to share it to the bigger guys. This student did something, presented something as a project he never knew how to do. That is 1. 2, you look at the effect of that your demand on that child. If this child cannot get it, the next thing will go and stand on the road and look for who will give it to her. See where our own value has sent some other people into jeopardy. Many of them have been killed as a result of looking for livelihood. Many girls that stand on the road, it's not because they enjoy sex, because they want something to eat, to feed, to live on. So our society indirectly is pushing people into crime, all manner of crimes. Many of them have lost their lives in the bid of making food, getting what to eat, looking like others.
Now the discussion is getting heated right here. I think it is time for us to take a chill pill, take a break for tea or coffee or water, very cold water, as we go straight to Go Start, which is a segment that we use as a breaker for tea on Daybreak Africa. We'll take that break, and when we return, we just hope that our guests would have simmered down a little as we go in depth into how parenting and, of course, a sound morals can build a nation. Stay with us. Welcome back to Daybreak Africa, where we're discussing a very important topic this morning: good governance, role of parenting, a sound morale. Our guest, Elizabeth Okorafo, is still here. I can assure you she has simmered down after a sip of cold water. So let us begin to take a look at the flip side of this discussion this morning. While I was doing my research, I discovered that parents have a lot to do in nation building. Ezekiel said, charity begins at home. Again, the hand rocks the cradle, rocks the world. The first teachers that we have, our parents, the first learning that we have begins in the home. The mother usually is the one that is left with the children while the man goes out to fend for the family. Let us begin to break it down. Parenting involves mothers or parents bringing up happy, healthy children. Mothers or parents have been known to foster goodwill. I discovered that a parent needs to foster empathy in a child, honesty, self-reliance, self-control, kindness, cooperation with people, and of course, the spread of joy and happiness all around. If you put this into one, we're talking about how all of this will develop a society on the long run. Tell us the role of parenting in building a great nation that will lead to good governance.
Thank you. I will start with the Bible, the junction that in Proverbs it said, train your child in a good way. When he grows, he will not depart. And will be the envy of your enemies. Meaning that from inception, a home has a lot to do. And like I said, the home is the head of the fish. However you want to say it, you cannot give what you don't have. So if from a home, a child learns to be sincere, he learns to be sincere. You learn to be neat. You learn to dress well. You learn to respect people, elders. You have that empathy. In education, when we teach, we say we have 3 domains. The 3 domains is psychomotor, cognitive, and affective domains. The psychomotor is the ability to put in practice what you have done, what you have been taught. The cognitive is to know, you cannot put in practice what you did not understand. And then the affective is, what did that thing do into you? Oh, you had about the Igbos. How do you feel when you hear about the Igbos? The stories you hear about the Igbos, how does it affect your relationship with them? So what we are talking about here is these 3 domains that controls everybody's behavior. I've learned this thing. Can I replicate this thing? And then how do I feel doing this thing? Some parents teach their children to be useless or to be wayward indirectly.
How
Yes.
do they do that?
Yes. A child will wake up in the morning and you go and serve him in the cook. You have house helps here and there. Yeah? You have house helps here and there. A child will wake up in the morning, a child of 5, 6, 7 years, you call a house, go and brush her teeth, go and brush his teeth, go and make his bed, go and sweep his room. You are indirectly letting him know, you are indirectly letting him know that there is what we call slavery. Do you understand? There is what is called slavery. There is that demarcation. There is demarcation. When I was growing up as a small girl, as a young lady, my mother would have our cousins who come to us, because to the glory of God, my father was a little bit okay, more than his brother, so our cousins used to come to us. My mother would leave my cousins and be sending us on errand. When you ask her, hey, but this cousin, he said, I cannot waste my time training another person's child and my own will not be trained. An Igbo person said, where you are advising a child that has mother, the one that does not have a mother will be learning.
Will be listening.
You understand? So so many people think by the time they surround their children with all the gadgets, all the servants here and there, they are doing them well. In the morning, you take your children, you go and bath them, or put them in the car. And I want to go to take them to school. You're already making
now,
them
just
robots.
to add a little bit to what you've said, like growing up myself, my parents had house helps in the house, but there was a rule in the house. My parents will put us down and say, these house helps were gotten for myself. My dad would say, this is for me and my wife. And would tell the house help, you're not to do anything for these children.
Yes.
So you grow up doing your chores. You come to the house, you can't even differentiate between who the children are or who the house helps are. And people will ask my mom, why do you do that? And she will say, the world is not friendly. The world is not friendly.
Yes.
You have to equip these children because they may have everything in here,
Yes.
but what would the world, when they step out the doors, the world will not give them the things that
Yes.
they expect, so they have to be strong. So I understand that. But how do we apply that to good governance?
Yes. How we apply it to good governance is very simple. Like I said, you cannot give what you do not have. You cannot give what you do not have. Because if your parents have taught you, let's take for instance, when I was growing up, I will always use my parents because I see my parents as a role model. They were of high moral standard. My father called me one day in my local name 3 times. How many times did I call? I said 3 times. Whenever you are in the position of having domestic assistance, but so many people use that word, domestic servants. They are not your servants. They're your assistants. Because if they are, as a director here, you can't be sweeping. Do you understand? You do your role, that person does his own role. He's only assisting the work to move. Do you understand? Your driver is not your domestic servant, it's your domestic assistant. It's a domestic, we call it domestic because these are the incentives you have that will help you put your work into place. So they are supposed, first of all, learn to address people properly. Learn to put people in their right places. If our government knows that all these peasant workers are also doing things they cannot do, a medical doctor cannot sew his clothes. A medical doctor cannot set the lab for operation. So everybody is important. Everybody has a role to play. They say the left hand will wash the right hand before it will be clean. One hand cannot wash itself clean. So do not despise this one. The 5 fingers are not equal, yet none can do without the other. So we should first of all learn how to prioritize people, learn how to place people properly, learn how to address people properly, value people, value this life. You cannot create anyone. So nobody should be seen as a servant. We all serving, working to get to a particular goal. Since it's only one person that will be at the helm of affairs, there should be subordinates that will help that person. So if the president is good and his other subordinates are not good, he cannot do anything. So everybody individually and every home producing good quality child, they meet together, they bring up good things.
You're quite far off for me. I mean, English are way off me. There was something you said, so I want to just take us aback a little bit. I'm still trying to grasp my head around a certain scenario you gave and certain statements you made. You made mention of the fact where you said Nigerians do not have a value system.
Yeah. And
you said more like our check and balance structure has been compromised from brown envelopes. You did give an example as to what even happened at the office yesterday as to students coming to you with projects, and then it was more like things they didn't practice. I was trying to really get my head around that part. Now, how best can we fix situations as that? Or is it more like it's unfixable? It has been more like, should I use the word compromise that has been there, that has stuck, and we've seen it and consider it one of the structure of the system, more like structure we can't do without. So is there a way we could go past situations as this? Because I was thinking it was just more like political. I never knew even the education sector has been deeply compromised, as you did mention.
Yeah, thank you, Ezekiel. Like I said, it takes somebody who has value, moral value, to dictate those things. If you don't have moral value, you just compromise, you just fall in, you key in, it becomes the other. Like I cited what happened yesterday. I did not stop there. I had to, I sent the students out, go. You are not going to do that in here, and you are not going to do that project. I got the name of the lecturer. I went straight, I called the head of department. He said, oh, I was in the midst of something. I said, okay, since you are in the midst of something, continue. I went to the dean and reported the case to the dean. And I told the dean, if you don't take action on this, I'll go to vice chancellor. And that's my own style. And if you and I begin to pick these things and nip them at the board, I think before you know it, when I was telling the student to give me the details, he said, Mommy, please, I don't want them to punish me. I said, you are stupid. Do I know your name? I don't know your name. And nobody knew you came to me, mind you. But I want to use your case to stop this menace. It's been there. They say that's how they've been doing it. It cannot continue. Somebody has to be there. Somebody has to make that frantic effort. Somebody has to make that sacrifice.
But a lot of people resist change. Now, change, people talk about change all the time.
Yeah.
They talk about change, and we hear every day that the only thing that is constant in life is change. Yeah. You know, my heart is so filled with joy. Here you talk about taking a stand, making sure that you put your neck forward, not minding the consequences to correct something that is wrong. Yeah. Not minding that these children are not your children. Yeah. Not minding that you're not the one paying the school fees, but you discover that there was a problem in the system and you put yourself forward to make a change. How do you address situation where you try to make a change and there is always resistance? How do you apply that to good governance? It takes, if you read all the books, it takes, if you go down history, it takes one person to create change. Just one person who gathers followers. That person sells that vision to followers who will help, because even that one person can actualize the aim. That person needs people to actualize it. How do you create change in an atmosphere of resistance every time you try? If the school resists, how do you get the information across towards good governance?
Thank you. And I think no entity stands on its own. And the persistence, and he who wants equity must go with clean hands. When people know that you cannot compromise, when you talk, they will listen. It's not when you can, you have your own, your own black spots there, and you come and be magnifying my own. Well, the problem we have in correcting people is that we are not clean ourselves. That's exactly what Tinubu did. I'm sorry to talk about Tinubu every time. You know why I'm saying what I'm saying? When you are going for equity, I say it again, you must go with the clean hands. If I had been collecting things during teaching practice, during project supervision, students will come and pay me some money, put in my phone, give me a recharge card, I wouldn't have the moral justification
to step forward.
And when you know that, look around yourself. That was what happened in the Bible. When they brought the woman that committed adultery, they said Jesus was writing, putting their names down with their offenses. At the end of the day, you see that none of them was justified to condemn her. He said, if you have not done this, be the first to throw stone. And all of them left, and the system continued. But Jesus did not stop there. He told the woman, nobody has condemned you, but go home and sin no more.
No more.
So what I'm saying, one of the best ways or the cheapest or easiest way to put a stop to all these ills of the society is to be morally upright.
So in order to have people really follow you and follow your vision of change, you have to be morally upright. That's a beautiful one, I really must say.
You understand? You have to be morally upright. And then whoever that is caught should be given a good sanction. It's not okay, just say it. Make an scapegoat for once. Make an escape. So many people have been making scapegoats. But the truth is this. Like I said before, Ezekiel was asking why I have to say we don't have value. I didn't say we don't have value, but we don't have good value.
We do not have good value.
We don't have good value. Because what we are looking at is the way it will favor us and not how it will better the life of the society. What has this issue of if you don't have mathematics, if you don't have English, you cannot go to the university? What? Some comedians will ask you that in the school they say y plus z is this, find s. What is s looking for in y and z? They've not seen it. All these days they are working. They've not seen x. They are still looking for x. You understand? What you value should be of importance. You should have value is something that makes you better than what you are. Isn't that what you call value?
What about honesty?
Good. Honesty is just there. Honesty is just knowing the truth and being there, keeping to that truth. If we say, okay, we are going to come here by 5 o'clock, try to be there by 5 o'clock. It starts from there.
That's true.
You can't tell me, you can't give me an appointment by 1 o'clock and by 2 you are still, oh please, no, I can't trust you again. When once trust is broken, it's forever broken. Some people don't like, if I know I cannot make it today by this time I did, I will call you beforehand. Please, I have another engagement. I will not be there. And when somebody is talking about Miss Okorafo tomorrow, that woman, no, she is no go area. In this aspect, let people be able to predict you, know who you are. You understand? Let people know who you are. And when you want to talk to people, you talk boldly because they know you cannot take anything less than what you have said. So I think honesty is a key word that we should think about.
So some children will come from boarding house.
Yeah.
And they leave the house with one set of cutlery, 2 uniforms, 5 notebooks, 5 textbooks, and by the time they're coming back home, they're coming with 15 sets of cutlery. Good. They're coming with 10 uniforms. They're coming with 20 textbooks and notebooks, and their parents will not even bother to ask them. But once upon a time, we grew up in a house where you come back with a biro, you come back with a pen that is not given to you by your mother. Good. She grabs you by the hand and marches you straight out of the house to where you got it and say, return it to James.
Good.
Gives you a beating and brings you back. But those days are far gone. Let us talk about that. How has that affected leadership in this country? Or how can that affect leadership on the long run? How can that affect good or decide bad governance for the future of any country?
Thank you. Let me ask one question. A child of 21 years that is driving Lamborghini, what is his job? When did he graduate? What appointment, what job did he have? And they'll tell you they are into crypto. You know, cryptocurrency, Abi. They'll tell you they are into this, they'll tell you. And when they bring that Lamborghini, it will be celebrated.
By their parents.
By their parents. The community will celebrate them. Your own child that has no means, that has been following that church training he got. You will be, as a mother, as a father,
that's your mate.
Look at your mate.
Not be your mate to be that.
Look at your mate. So what are you teaching the child? You are telling the child to go through the means. Get it, whether cook or any means, get it, come. They are waiting for results and not the effects.
When such people find themselves in governance tomorrow, in leadership roles, what you think would happen eventually?
Of course, it's a question and answer two of us know about.
We really need to talk about it.
We really know the answer.
Because we still have parents who tell their children, not be your mate to be that.
Yes.
So.
And that is what we are seeing today. It degenerates to the point that somebody will take billions from the government purse and nobody will talk about it. There's a lady, I don't know the positions they held. He said she carelessly took almost 300 billion into her personal account. And this person will come home and will buy a house for his mother and do this and do that. Let me give you one instance of what happened in my life. When I was growing up, I did my NCE in Abeokuta. When I come back on holidays, my father will pick me from Owerri, where the Kennedy Chiku boss will keep on. You come there and pick me in his machine, Honda 190. You carry me, go. NCE I'm talking about. When we get home, that box will be placed in the living room. Ijoma, you call my mother, come and check the clothes you did not buy for her. Mind you, Abeokuta is the den of a home of Anire. I never bought even one. 1 year like that, I joined reggae club. So I mimed the Mama Africa, Peter Touch. I wore jeans, I tie wrapper, I put lipstick. I snapped the picture with Polaroid picture I sent to my younger brother in IMT Enugu. He took, look, our sister is a beginner. My father looked at that picture. My brother did not see what my father saw. My father saw that I was wearing trousers. He saw that I was wearing lipstick. For a whole semester, my father did not send money to me again. Thank God for my guardian who sent money to me. Each time I send telegram, please send me money for, use the money for your lipstick. He will tell my brother to write me that I should use the money for that lipstick to feed. My brother will keep the letter. He will not send to me. Until I came home, I saw bags of rice for my senior brother's wedding. I said, and you people had money, you were feeling well. He said, sister, don't talk. Oh, Papa did not know. I did not send any of those 3 letters he was writing. I was like, you understand? There was this fear of who your parents are. They will always say, mind the child of who you are. These days, they don't mind the child of who they are. The parents now know the children, the mother of who their children are. Oh, Mommy Choma, Davido's wife, Mommy Davido. How did they get there in the first instance? You don't know. And you don't care to know. Because the society has so polarized it that if you don't have money, you don't have any word. You cannot say anything. So, I'm telling you, everything about governance starts and ends at home. And it starts with the parents, the parenting. What kind of children what did you instill in your children? What moral value did you instill in them? When my younger son, my small son, the only one I had, only son, was schooling here, one day he came home with a fine handset, very clean handset. I don't know the name. Is it Infinix or so? And in their school demonstration, they are not allowed to go with phone. I didn't buy phone for him. This senior sister now picked it and asked him, how did you get phone? Say, they stole his own. They touched. I kept in the house that he will be using when I'm not around. When he's back, I will use it to call. He took it to school and that they stole it and he now took their own. That was say, consider yourself dead today. When they came, I carried my kitchen knife. I knelt him down. I didn't ask God for a thief as a child. Tell me how you got this phone now. Before I stab you, I'll stab you. I'll have a well inside. I'll dump you there. I'll pour formalin into it. Nobody will query me about you. You don't have a father. Tell me how you got this phone. Mommy. Okay. After saying what is it, I didn't beat him. Oh. That's one thing about parent training. If you make children to be afraid of you in the negative aspect, they'll be telling you lies. But when a child tells the truth, you just have to advise the child not to do that thing again. You can give instances of people who have done such silly things and where he landed them. But I did that. I did not stop there. The following morning, he went to school on his own. Me, I took the phone, JJJ, drove to the school, went to principal's office. Principal, see me, see my life. My son came home with this phone yesterday. Please, I learned it belongs to so person, Philip. Do not take it further. Because if the principal exposes him, you have killed his ego. Please call that Philip in your office and give him the phone. If possible, tell him that somebody picked it. Don't mention the boy's name. And the boy came back and I asked him, did Philip see his phone? He said, yes, ma'am. And that he didn't know how he got the phone, that he was just telling people that he got the phone. I said, okay, no problem. Did anybody call? He said, no. I said, Chinonso, this is your stealing attitude. Immediately he clocked 18, I told him, you are of age. Anything you do now, you go in for it. Don't call me. You know I won't be there for you. So these are the kind of ways you tell children that you cannot take rubbish from them. And when they bring something from outside, they may start from pen. You keep quiet.
So you have
the next
to
thing
check.
they start from book. You keep. The one day they bring a motto.
I wish we could go on and on.
Yeah.
Just concluding on what you said, like what Ezekiel started with at the start of the show. Charity begins at home. For good governance to be our way of life, charity must begin at home. Once the foundation is broken, the Bible says, what can the righteous do? We want to thank our guest this morning, Elizabeth Okorafo, a lecturer and social analyst, a mother and a mentor. Thank you so much for being our guest once again,
pleasure.
This side of the discourse. We will really appreciate your feedback, and of course we encourage you to like and subscribe to KAFTAN TV channel on YouTube, so you can watch all the episodes. Like again, we would appreciate your comment on every show that you watch. All right? So on my end, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay safe and bye for now. My name is Anire Binitie.